We are now halfway through the year of 2023, and that is crazy. And most of the movies I saw this year are actually really good. You could check those out right up there in that card up here. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're going to talk about the 5 worst movies of the year to me thus far. Hi, my name is Nathan and I talk about a bunch of movies on this channel. If you're new here, down below in the comment section, share your picks for the 5 worst movies of the year thus far in the first 6 months of the year thus far. Over on my channel, I have more content like this. Check those out once this video is over. Be sure to like and be sure to subscribe because it really does help a lot and I would appreciate it. And with that in mind, I just want to say that 2023 has been actually a really good year for movies. I've seen a lot of movies this year thus far. I've seen 31 new releases, and most of them are actually pretty good. Even, like, some of the movies on this list you're about to see, they might not actually be all that bad to you, but to me, these were, like, the worst movies of the year thus far. Like I said, this is only halfway through the year, so by the end of the year, this list will definitely change. There will be more movies in here, but these are just my picks thus far, and with that said, let's start the ranking. Kicking off the Dishonorable Top 5, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, it is really frustrating for me to have this movie on this list because I went in this movie so unbelievably excited to see another good old Indiana Jones adventure, and this movie ended up being utterly disappointing.
And I wanted you to be better.
And of course, maybe it's fun to see Harrison Ford again, but I can't think of anything beyond that to say any good things about this movie. From the very opening scene, you could just tell the technology is not quite there because they open up with this sequence with a de-aged Harrison Ford, and to me, it just looked absolutely ridiculous. And it's missing all of the charm of the 80s Indiana Jones movies with the Spielberg charm. Steven Spielberg just brought this charm, this vibe to the Indiana Jones 80s movies that made them so good, and this movie just doesn't have that. It's directed by James Mangold, and you just don't see the Spielbergisms in there because of that. And the plot just really fell out of place in this movie, as it's the main villain's plot is about literally time travel. Like, and that doesn't fit the franchise at all. But unfortunately, what really kills this movie is that I didn't care about any of the new characters. And so, a movie that, at the beginning of the year, I was actually really excited for, by the time I sat in my seat, I was just like, okay, from the first reviews, I'm only expecting, like, B-level. But that's not what I got. I got something much worse. And so I'm frustrated that this has to be on the list. But it is one of the worst movies of the year thus far. Number 4, Peter Pan and Wendy. This is another lazy Disney live-action remake plopped straight onto Disney+.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
And the original Peter Pan, I would actually say, is one of the better Silver Age Disney classics. But some of the charm of that movie about being young and never growing up is just gone. And it lacks enough charm and life to make anything memorable out of it. There's nothing memorable about this movie. And like many of these, there is no reason I would need to rewatch it when you just have the original. And what's really weird about this one is that it tries to make Peter Pan like this big epic story when it's just not. And I don't think this movie came, like, it felt like a Pirates of the Caribbean knockoff. Like something that Disney would do as this adventure film, but just Pirates of the Caribbean with kids, basically. And so a movie where, I mean, the Disney live-action remakes haven't been all that good lately, and so it's not surprising it's on this list. And so, a movie that I'll probably forget about it until the end of the year, and I will never rewatch this movie. Dishonorable third place goes to We Have a Ghost. This is a Netflix original film that's a haunted house movie with David Harbour playing a ghost. And it's from the director of horror movies like Happy Death Day and Freaky. On paper, that sounds like a really good movie that would be released. and it's really not. And it's tough to even know what went wrong with this movie, as it's just a misfire. And it can't really decide what it is. It felt like multiple people were coming up with ideas for this movie. So you got this plot line about a family drama, but you also have the haunted house plotline, but then you also have them running away from the cops and stuff like that. You also have them gaining fame on the internet. You also have the relationship between the father and the son. And I just don't think any of it worked very well because they were doing so much. As a comedy, it's supposed to be a comedy, and it's not really all that funny. As a horror haunted house movie, it is never scary. And it tries to do some stuff with the characters, especially like the father and the son, but it ends up making them like unlikable and selfish. And the movie cast David Harbour as the ghost, but you didn't have him say a single line of dialogue the entire movie. So why would you cast David Harbour if you're not going to say anything? So a movie that, like, it's way too long for what it delivered. Like, it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's way too long. It's something that could be squished into 90 minutes. And so this is another basically just like unwatchable. I will never rewatch this movie, and so it's not really a good movie. Our runner-up is Crater. Now, some of you probably love this movie, and I can respect that, but I think the context in which I did watch this movie affected how much I actually enjoyed the film. I went in not having seen a trailer. I only saw the cover poster art, and I saw the words "from the producers of Stranger Things." And I thought, sure, I will watch that. I didn't know the premise. I had not seen a trailer. But what I went in expecting is an Indiana Jones type space adventure with children. And that's not what I got from this film. It just absolutely did not get what I expected. And I think that played into how much I actually enjoyed this movie, because obviously I didn't like it. It's on this list. And it's pretty much just the movie Stand By Me in space, but with a PG rating. That's basically what this movie is. And for the most part, it's just kids on the moon doing random things. The plot doesn't move forward. It barely qualifies as an adventure film because of that. They try to do this twist emotional reveal about the dad at the end of it. But then, to me, I just thought like, oh my gosh, this kid has like the worst parents ever. Why did he do that? And so, a movie that I can understand if you have a family. Oh, my lights went off. If you have a family, you probably enjoyed this movie. But it just did not work for me as well as a bunch of other people thought it did. But dishonorably in first place, The Mother. Netflix movies are usually hit or miss. So, but most of the time, they're sort of in that middle area of films. Even their action movies, like last year they put out The Gray Man, that's just like a mid-tier action movie. There's not much problems with it, but I think it's a good enough action movie. This movie is legitimately a terrible action movie.
I think something's wrong here, Wanda.
It's bland and forgettable in the most bland and forgettable ways possible. And what really just didn't work about it is that, like, it laid into so much of the generic action movie cliches. You have a very predictable story from the very beginning. And it goes up all the way until the end. There's nothing distinct about the action or anything like that. And some of it is even weird. There's a sequence where Jennifer Lopez is torturing a guy, and then they like blur out two sides of the screen to show that he's being tortured. And that's just a weird way to film your sequence, a weird way to do it. Nothing is distinct about this movie. Nothing stands out. Absolutely nothing. This movie was wiped from my memory a week after I saw it. And so there's just nothing distinct about it. And even worse, the day I saw this movie, earlier in the day, I saw the movie Crater. And so I saw a double feature of the 2 worst movies of the year to me. But this movie just... I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about anything happening. There was just nothing new to offer. So it is the worst movie of the year thus far to me. There you have it. Those are my picks. Down below in the comments section, share your picks. Click that like button. Be sure to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Over on my channel, I have more content like this. Check those out right now. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. And I will see you in the next one.